Hello everyone! Welcome to the visualization of Wings Engine. Thank you for choosing our products. In this video tutorial, I will simply visualization of the classic of mountains and seas. Let everyone have a preliminary understanding. First, we download and install the Wings Engine. Open the software and come to the home page. We can create a new project here. You can choose to create from a template or create a blank project. Wings Engine has many rich templates built in. Based on the template, you can quickly build a project. For better explanation, we chose to create a blank project here. Then we come to the Wings Engine Visualization Project Editing Interface. The left is the layer panel. All the components of the current board will appear here. The right is the property panel. All components and the style and interaction of the board. Data to development is set here. It is the main operation area. The bottom is the large screen board. Here you can add multiple sub-dashboards. The foreground and background boards are used too. Place commonly used elements in the project, such as big titles, borders, menus, and so on. Components that appear in all large screens, usually placed on the foreground screen, while the background screen is specifically used too, to place main elements like maps and models. It's at the bottom, next to the layered panel. The column of icons is the component bar. All the components of the visualization of Wings Engine all come from here. The first chart, which has various different types of icon components. Click to add. You can see the component is successfully added to the project. You can change their positions and sizes freely. Currently, we have selected the chart component. On the right is the relevant property panel. We can see there are many settings. Including transparency, color, text size, and background. If I need to adjust the color of the bar chart, I can click here. Click OK. The color is easily modified. We see that there is a yellow data here, which is its highlighting color, which can also be easily modified here. Below are the parameters of the graphic text, which is the indicator on the graph. If you don't need it, you can turn it off. The ranking text is the same. The following are the settings. Some style parameters. Then below are the graphic-shaped auxiliary lines, Legends prompt information, and other settings. The entire column is the style settings of the component. If you want the data to reach a certain value, the color changes. You can use data conditions. First, we add a set of data. Here you can choose to add static Excel data or dynamic API data or other databases. About the connection method of dynamic data, I'll explain it in the second half of the video. Let's use static data as an example. Click OK. In the data column, switch from private and switch to public data. Disconnect the old data and connect to the new data. At this time, the chart is successfully bound to the data. Then add a data condition to it. Select the data table. Select the field. Set a condition for it. For example, set the condition to trigger when it's greater than 120. Then go to the color settings of the chart. Here you can choose data condition triggering or directly triggered. If you directly trigger it, you need to define the conditions first. You can see that the chart is successfully influenced by data. Of course, you can also choose data conditions. Add the condition we just created. This solution is more suitable for large data and many conditions. Functions like this and other components. There are very detailed instructions on the official website. You can find it at the bottom of the home page. Find the official document tutorial entry. Click on the graphics tutorial and find the visual components in the project creation. Each component has a detailed introduction. Each setting item, its functions, and required data fields are all explained here. If you have any questions, you can check it here first. Meanwhile, at the top of the Component Properties panel, there is a button to view the tutorial. which can directly jump to the corresponding document. Then go back to the software. There is also an extension option here. It's necessary to introduce it to you. When the mouse hovers over the settings item name, there will be a three-dot icon. After clicking, there are 6 options inside. The first one is conditioning style, just like what we demonstrated. All settings can be set in this way. The second is to call the code example. If this settings item needs secondary development, you can see it here. There are also in the Documentation Center tutorials on secondary development, including basic tutorials, advanced tutorials, API references, and system integration. If you need to know more, please go and check. The third is attribute animation. You can animate this property value. You can set the change value from start to end. Open it and you can see the effect. The fourth is to generate attribute data sources. After clicking, you can use the current value to generate a data. You can see this is the data source we just created after clicking. The fifth is to generate a data field. You can add a data field to the current value. This is the data field we just generated. At this time, you can bind the required fields. The sixth reset is to restore to the initial value. And in the upper right corner of the entire property panel, there is a status surface in the upper right corner. The state affects the entire component, usually used for component interaction. Here we create a new state too. Then, in the case of state 2, to modify some parameters. For example, I added a background to state 2. And change a color. Click OK. The background has taken effect. Then we can add a border to it. Okay, our states are set up like this. Next, we add a menu control. To switch the state of the column chart through the menu, first, modify the menu name. After setting it, go to the interaction. Change the trigger to selection. And select no background. Add a toggle state to it. Then select the component we just set and set it to the default state. Change the background to state 2. Then click OK. The interaction is set. Click to try it. This is the most common usage scenario of multi-state. Switching interaction states. Then let's look at other components, such as data charts or the indicator card. Their settings methods are actually the same as charts. The panel here can modify its style. And you can also set multiple states and can set the interaction and data. Regarding interaction, the most commonly used is the control, such as buttons, and selection buttons. We can add an interaction next to it. And there are so many triggering methods here. Select, click, hover, or enter and exit. And then there are drop-down menus, which is also common. Let's modify the option values first. Change the first one to 10, the second one to 50, and the third to 100. Then we come to the interaction panel. Click Add Interaction and add a modification setting. To modify the transparency of the column chart, for example, when it's 10, change it to 50 when it's 50. Change it to 50. and 100 to 100. At this time, I can use this drop-down menu to control the transparency of the components. That's about it. It's a very simple setting. For the settings and interactions of components, on our official website, there are detailed video tutorials. Same to the home page. We click on the video tutorials. And then find Project Production in the introductory topics. Here you can see tutorials for various settings, such as the conditional style mentioned earlier, including the component interactions now. There will be a very detailed explanation here. Then let's take a look at the map. The method of setting the map is actually the same. There are also many settings on the right. If you want to add a marker, we can turn on the switch of the marker. Then you can adjust the style of the marker here. You can upload a marker material to it. Click to add it. Then you need to give it a data. This is the data of a province. It will be recognized by the province's name, and it will appear automatically in the center. Of course, it can also be generated by latitude and longitude. The color can also be modified. If you want to choose other cities, you can choose here. Okay, that's about it for this component. Then there is the online map. This map requires a network connection. and double-click to enter. The editing state of this component. Here we can add some other elements. And add some marker points. The way to add is very simple. Click to add. It includes a built-in surveying function. Click to measure. In the video center of Wings Engine, there is which is dedicated to explaining two-dimensional maps. Let's go to the Wings Engine Video Center. Scroll down slightly to find the map section, including tile maps, contour maps, and three-dimensional maps. The content inside is very detailed, in addition to the marker points we just talked about, including flying lines, line segments, heat maps, etc. They are all introduced in detail. Then we continue to scroll down. Then topological maps. We have built in some finished topological components. Click to add. Below are also kits, which are also some components we designed. Here, you can quickly build a large screen project quickly. Let's take a look at the data connection section. Let's add a table component first. Let's first change the text of the table to make them larger and more visible. In this way, it will be clearer for us to explain. Then we come to the data panel. The first is field settings. The data of the component is added from here. The component is defaultly connected to its own data. This data only serves to display and cannot be used for filtering and linkage. So we connect it to a set of external data. After selecting the table, click the field you want to add it quickly. Now the data has been successfully added. The last column has a slight problem with the style. I slightly modified it. The data has been added successfully. Let's move on to the next one. the next key field. Here, we usually put some ID fields. The ID is equivalent to a number for this data. It is mainly used for data linkage. It is generally not displayed. Let me open the data list for you to see. In addition, for the connection method of dynamic data, you can find the corresponding tutorials in the navigation menu on the left of the Document Center. A special tutorial on data connection. It not only introduces the connection methods of each database, but also explains in detail the data update and data replacement operations. Let's go back to Wing's engine. After selecting the data table, on the right, you can open the data table. The first column of data is ID. ID can be other values, such as letters or text. It should be noted that it cannot be renamed and cannot be empty. This is a table that counts the number of data table of the number of projects in each city. Each city has different units. Each unit is divided into ordinary projects and key projects. Next, I'll show you how to create data linkage and data filtering. When the clear end row is turned on, automatically clear the blank data at the end. Sometimes we might accidentally press some space keys or something. This function can solve these problems. The number of rows displayed is too small now. We can change it to more rows. Here is the number of rows. Just modify it. Okay, let's look at sorting. Here we can select the field you want to sort. For example, I can sort by quantity, from large to small, or from small to large. Here we can also filter, sorting data for filtering. For example, I want to see the first few rows, or specify to view a certain row. I can operate through here. Here is data linkage. You can select to link other components or be linked by other components. After we turn on the switch, an advanced setting will appear where you can add the specific components you want to link or components that you don't want to be linked. Now I'll show you how to do it. How components are linked. Add a menu component. Because we want to link. The menu also needs to be generated by data. And the tables must be the same number. First, select from Data in the Styles section. And then switch to the Data panel. A data field will appear. Then we add the same data to it. You can add cities or units. It depends on what we need to display here. The content has exceeded the component range. Let's make a slight adjustment. Okay, we can now set up the linkage. We can use the menu to link the list. When clicking on the menu, I hope the content of the list content should be related to the menu. The menu can be linked to other components. The list can accept the linkage of other components. Advanced settings can be temporarily turned off. Because in our CRD, there are only these two components in the project. The relationship is clear. So we don't need two. If there are many components that are linked, to prevent confusion, you can turn on advanced settings. Customize the linked and linked components. You can see that the list has been successfully linked to the menu. The next one is selection transmission. This function can pass the CRD components to other components. Turn off data linkage first. Pass it to other components. Menu selects to accept the transmission from other components. You can see the selected state of the list. Now it can be passed to the menu. The menu will be selected according to the list. But the selection of the menu can't be passed to the list because their field types are different. The menu selects the essence, but there are many essences in the list. It cannot determine which one to select. So if you want to do the selected linkage, the linked and linked components must have the same field type. We can change the cities to the unit field. So the fields of the menu and the list corresponding to each other, so that they can be selected and linked to each other. Turn on both the acceptance and transmission of the two components. Then the selection linkage function is set successfully. Here is data filtering. If you need to filter, you can set it here. The previous one is for sorting. This filter is for overall filtering. Here is a data condition field. It is mainly used for some direct judgment conditions, such as in the status. Here we choose direct judgment. Sometimes the data volume is large. There may be the same fields. To establish a clearer linkage relationship, here is an option for this setting. Just add the field here. To establish a clear linkage, okay, here is about the two-dimensional. The function of the two-dimensional part is over. Finally, let's talk about the issue of lag in the two-dimensional part. Some friends are making projects without a three-dimensional scene. There will still be stuttering. The two-dimensional lag is nothing more than are caused by several reasons, such as too many videos, high resolution, and large data, high refresh rate, and other reasons. In the official website's documents, you can find optimization methods. If you need to know more, please go to the Document Center of Wings Engine. That's all for this class. Thanks for watching.